Good morning once again, brethren. Our Bible text for today is 1 Corinthians chapter 4. We are going to read verses 1 and 2. 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 1 and 2. Let a man so account of us as of the ministers of Christ and stewards of the mysteries of God. Moreover, it is required in stewards that a man be found faithful. It is required in stewards that a man be found faithful. The title of the message today is A Generation of Judas Iscariot. I will repeat it. The title is A Generation of Judas Iscariot. One major crisis we have in this generation is that of Christians who identify with Christ, who quote the Bible, but they lie naturally like the devil. In fact, some lie more than the devil. A Christian leader lamented some time ago. I was talking to this Christian leader about the condition of the church in Nigeria, and he said that even though Judas Iscariot died 2,000 years ago, he said, Bosun, that spirit that operated in Judas never left the church. That spirit is still operating in the church. The spirit that pushed Judas Iscariot to betray Jesus Christ for 30 pieces of silver. This church leader insisted that spirit is still operating. It never left the church. The ease with which Christians tell lies, not just telling lies, betray one another, compromise the church, disregard the interest of Jesus Christ, it is alarming. It is alarming. It is becoming increasingly difficult to find Christians that one can trust inside the church, in families, in offices, in the ministry. Oh, don't talk about the marketplace. Some of the worst fraudsters, some of the worst swindlers in the marketplace, they are Christians. The situation has gotten so bad that ministers of the gospel, church leaders, could hardly hold confidential meetings with each other. I have attended a Christian leadership meeting before, in which everyone who attended that meeting was asked to deposit his mobile phone outside. Provision was made for that. That everyone attending that meeting, and they are all Christians, not just Christians, church leaders, bishops, archbishops, general overseers, apostles, heads of denominations were in that meeting. Everybody was instructed, deposit your phone outside. Masking tape was provided. You will be given a piece of masking tape. You will place it on the back of your phone. You write your name on it. So that after the meeting, you can come out and retrieve your phone, but you must not enter the meeting with your phone. Why? Because experience has taught the church leaders that as the meeting will be going on, one of them will be recording. And after the meeting, he will take it to the Muslims or take it to a top government functionary. I heard the story of a meeting that was held by some church leaders. I was not in that meeting. And they were discussing the political direction of Nigeria and what should be the position of the church. As the meeting was proceeding, a bishop was recording. After the meeting, he took the recording of his mobile phone to a notable Muslim leader in Nigeria, and he was paid some millions for what he did. He leaked, exposed everything his brethren discussed, took it to the Muslims, and they paid him money. The spirit of Judas Iscariot. It is still strong in the church, and it is still disturbing the church to the extent that most ministers find it difficult to build ministry relationship because you don't know whom to trust anymore. You don't know which Christian to confide in anymore. Amongst Christian brethren, the matter of trust, the matter of faithfulness in our generation has become a serious challenge. In 2014, let me give a personal example here. In 2014, God gave me grace to deliver a message which Christians entitled Wake Up Call. It was Christians who called the message Wake Up Call in 2014. And what that message did was to warn Christians in Nigeria about the danger of permitting APC, All Progressive Congress, from forming government. And the message warned Christians that if they permit APC to win election in 2015 and form government, the Christians are going to suffer tremendously because APC is an Islamic party and they are coming for an Islamic agenda. And that message circulated amongst Christians. Up till today, I did not produce one CD of that message. Up till today, I did not circulate those CDs. Christians took it on themselves and started passing the message one to another. In 2014, when crisis broke out after the message, an elder, I still remember the elder till today. I remember the name of his church, of his denomination. An elder in that church called me and told me that it was a pastor in that denomination that took the CD of that message to APC officials. He mentioned the name of the APC official. I still remember the name. I will not be mentioning those names because it's not important. It was a pastor that took that CD to an APC official. And then he laughed when he made the next statement. So, and they gave him contract. So that's what he wanted. He wanted contract. So a message that was circulating amongst Christians, he took it to the Muslims. When the APC officials got the message, They marched straight to meet a particular church leader in Nigeria. I will also not mention his name. To counter the message. There is documented evidence, and I still have the evidence till today, a letter. That church leader wrote a letter for All Progressive Congress and described the wake-up call. I will read from the letter how he described the wake-up call. I quote, "Wickedly false, unsubstantiated, ill-conceived, and born out of mischief," unquote. He said in his letter, the message that was warning the church about All Progressive Congress, that message was wickedly false, unsubstantiated, ill-conceived, and born out of mischief. APC posted that letter as a trophy on its website for some years. I got that letter from the website of APC. I copied it from the website of APC. It was that letter that brought APC into power. Because the moment that letter came out, it caused division in the church. Some Christians now started rationalizing. This church leader has told us to return the CD. This church leader has told us to destroy the CD. That the message is false. There is nothing wrong with APC. And then they started rationalizing Buhari is Cyrus. After all, God called Cyrus my servant. That Buhari is the anointed servant. And now his vice president is a pastor. There is no way. All those things that Pastor Bosun is saying in that message, yes, it's not true. It's playing politics. 11 years after APC has come into power, 11 years, Nigeria Christians, you can now turn back and assess who was telling a lie. The wake-up call or the church leader who wrote a letter condemning the wake-up call. I'm sure most Nigerians today are wishing that APC never came into power. Because the kind of sufferings Nigerians have gone through from the hands of terrorists, from the hands of kidnappers, from the hands of bandits, all manners of evil that have afflicted Nigerians, it is because APC came into power. When you look at the economy, when APC came into power in 2015, petrol was selling for 87 naira a liter. 87 naira a liter. APC took the price of petrol to 1,050 naira a liter. Dollar was 160 naira, thereabout, to a naira in 2015. APC took dollars to 1,800 naira. A dollar. Brought it back to 1,400. It is now around 1,500 naira. Millions of Nigerians have been pauperized by APC. That is those who survived. The situation is so bad, Nigerians are now rejoicing that America has designated the country again as a country of particular concern. Nigerians are now looking for America, foreign nations, to come and deliver them from the hand of APC. Millions of Nigerians have been killed. All because a church leader wrote a letter to counter what another pastor preached. He never called the pastor to ask him, bro, this message that you preach, though, Some people have come to meet me. How do we handle this? If we were members of the same family, if it was a family, people come from outside to report your brother to you and say your brother abused them. Will you write a letter of apology to those outsiders without discussing with your brother? The first thing you will do is that you will say, okay, I have heard you. Let me talk to my brother and hear from him and try and understand why he did what you people said he did. And the next thing you are going to be doing is how you are going to defend your brother and how you are going to justify what he said. Not in the church. Not amongst God's children. That spirit of disloyalty, that spirit of wickedness one to another, you know what you are doing is wrong. That is why most of these people who do these bad things, when you want to expose them, they become angry. They become angry. Some, if you expose them, they will go on the defensive and say you are causing disunity. And it's not everything you are supposed to say. It is a generation of Judas Iscariot. Traitors. Brethren who lack faithfulness. Christians who lack loyalty. Christians who lie naturally like evil spirits. It has to stop. I should mention, before going to the next point, that in that 2014, another pastor again, not a malam, not a sheikh, not an alaji, a pastor, organized a press conference also in 2014 and said 3 pastors were given 7 billion naira by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to campaign for former President Goodluck Jonathan. And then he mentioned the names of the 3 pastors. That one, I can tell you, is in the public domain. He said Pastor Orishe Jafo, the former president of CAN, Bishop Oyedepo, and Pastor Bosun Emmanuel, that it is because of that money that Bosun preached the wake-up call, that he was campaigning for Goodluck Jonathan. And Christians believed him. 7 billion naira. What absurdity. What's my business with PDP? But Christians believed. The interesting thing is that in August 2015, we went to Jos to go and look for this pastor under Voice of Christian Matthias. And we met him. I sat in the front of this man for 3 hours at the Baptist guest house in Jos. 3 hours I sat in the front of this pastor. He did not know he was talking to Pastor Bosun Emmanuel. He didn't know me. And I made sure I recorded all the conversation. I recorded the conversation because I know he will deny everything that we discussed. And he did later. Because when we confronted him, this message, this your press conference, how do you know they were giving money? Were you there? He said he was not there. How was the money given to them? Was it in dollars or in naira? 7 billion is a lot of money. He said he just knew that they were giving money. Okay, who told you? And eventually he apologized. I have his apology recorded till today. Later, he now told one of us, he told Reverend Isaac, that it was a reverend in Lagos who called him, one of the reverends campaigning for APC, that he should include my name in that press conference. That they did it to create credibility crisis for the wake-up call. It was a reverend. He mentioned the name of the reverend. I know the reverend. Now we're talking this morning about a generation of Judas Iscariot. And as we are talking about this thing, I want you to check yourself. As you are hearing this message, I want you to check yourself. Are you also part of the generation of Judas Iscariot? Are you trustworthy as a Christian? Are you faithful as a Christian? Or are you a traitor as a Christian? Are you one of those who carry gossip in the church? Are you one of those that if they entrust information to you in the church, or you know something that should be kept confidential, you spread it? Are you a Christian and in your office you cannot be trusted? In the marketplace, you are doing business, you cannot be trusted. You are always looking for your own advantage, irrespective of whom you cheat. What kind of a Christian are you? Are you a Christian after the order of Judas Iscariot? Not only do pastors betray each other, they have now moved on to betraying even the church. They have now gravitated, they have now developed to betraying the church. The main reason Nigeria is the way Nigeria is today, the main reason and the only reason, please believe me when I say the only reason why the terrorists are killing Christians in the north and in the middle belt is because most of our church leaders are traitors after the order of Judas Iscariot. That is the only reason. Church leaders betrayed the church. Church leaders betrayed Christians. Those who are supposed to be shepherds are the ones causing this bloodshed. Many of our church leaders are willing to collect money and betray their brethren. That treachery was exposed a few days ago after some American senators raised alarm concerning the genocide against Christians in Nigeria. And the Muslims started denying. And then the government started denying. I was shocked to see a video. I don't think it was AI. Anyway, it's not safe to quote a video anymore because they've used AI to do a lot of things. So I will not want to talk about what I heard and the person that I heard, except it is verified. But one information that can be verified, and it is verified, is that after the Muslim leaders started denying genocide against Christians, and Muslim senators started denying genocide, and the government of President Tinubu joined, denying genocide in Nigeria, Christian Association of Nigeria, can, the umbrella body of Christianity in Nigeria, issued a statement denying genocide against Christians. That is treachery. That is treachery. That is absolutely unbelievable. It was the uproar that made the leaders of CAN to hold an emergency meeting the following day. That statement was made on the 7th of October by an official of CAN. The emergency meeting was held on the 8th of March, the following day. And the president of CAN had to issue a counter statement. Even that counter statement, the president of CAN could not mention Muslim, Islam, Islamists, jihadists as the perpetrators of the genocide. It was a public relations statement. He wasn't speaking for a church that was under genocide. Now, the official who spoke could never have spoken if he was not permitted to. He was instructed to make that statement and dissimulate and reduce the seriousness of what was done to Christians in Nigeria. Meanwhile, foreigners are screaming, they are killing Christians in Nigeria. It is targeted elimination of Christians in Nigeria. The church leaders are saying, no, it is not only Christians. They are also killing Muslims. They are also killing Muslims. That in fact, there is insecurity. It's a general thing. It is not that Christians are being killed. It's not right to say it is genocide against Christians. Christian leaders, like we mentioned last week, the mere fact that one group, Muslim group, launched attack against another group, Christian group, to exterminate them, that is what constitutes genocide. If Muslims are killing Muslims, it is not genocide. So if the terrorists are killing Muslims, it's not genocide. It is once the terrorists kill Christians, then that is genocide. Because a group is trying to exterminate another group. It's for the same reason if they are fighting within an ethnic group, it is not genocide. But if an ethnic group should launch attack against another ethnic group, then that is genocide. Because it simply means a group wants to remove another group from existence. That's the genocide. And the Christian leaders know. Unfortunately, like Judas Iscariot, once they have received money, and they receive a lot of money, this one is not a lie. It's not slander. It's a statement of fact. In fact, it's an open secret that our Christian leaders are commercialized. It is an open secret. They don't care from whom they collect money. So long as it is money, just like Judas Iscariot, they will do whatever the enemy wants. There is evidence. I will just quickly mention 4 evidence. Again, of this matter of genocide. In 2020, a report was produced in Nigeria, a research, 312-page report. 312 on genocide in the year 2020, just 5 years ago. The foreword was written by U.S. Rep. Frank Wolf, Baroness Caroline Cox of House of Lords in United Kingdom, and Archbishop Benjamin Kwashi from Nigeria. Interestingly, the legal brief for this research, Nigeria's silent slaughter, that legal brief was written by Professor Joash Ojo Amukpitan, the the current chairman of INEC, the newly appointed one, is a professor of law. He wrote the legal brief, and it is included in this 312-page report. And I will quote what Professor Amukwiton wrote, just an excerpt. I quote, "The politics of naming genocide something else is one of the main reasons for the inability of states and international organizations to deal with the crime, unfortunately at the expense of innocent people's lives and properties," unquote. The politics of naming genocide something else, which is what Tinubu administration is doing, interestingly, or ironically, calling genocide insecurity. Insecurity? No, it's not insecurity. It is genocide. There is a deliberate plan of action by Muslims, by Islamists, to eradicate Christianity in Nigeria. It is part of their resolution in 1989 at the conference organized by Islam in Africa Organization, IAO. And that conference produced a communique called Abuja Declarations 1989. And they stated in that communique they plan to eradicate in all its forms and ramifications all non-Muslim religions in member nations. Such religions shall include Christianity. So whatever is going on is genocide. But who is denying it? Church leaders. A generation of Judas Iscariot. Other people spoke in that report. The report is in the public domain. If you go online and you Google Nigeria's silent slaughter, you will get the report. I know it's there. It's on our own website. The next report was done by the United Kingdom Parliament. A group or groups in the Parliament, All-Party Parliamentary Group, APPG, All-Party Parliamentary Group, APPG, produced a 56-page research report in 2019 on genocide against Christians in Nigeria. In 2019, Mr. Jim Shannon, MP, the chairman of the APPG, stated in that report, and I quote, "As Nigerian government ministers have publicly and rightly admitted, Christians are being ruthlessly targeted, specifically because of their faith," unquote. He added, Mr. Shannon added, and I quote again, "Unfortunately, Boko Haram are not the only threat that Nigerian Christians face. Attacks by armed groups of Fulani herdsmen have resulted in the killing, maiming, dispossession, and eviction of thousands of Christians," unquote. This was in 2019, the APPG report. Another report was produced in 2019, I think 2020, titled "Your Land or Your Blood." This report, this title, this phrase, "Your Land or Your Blood," was coined after Pastor Femi Adesina, the media aide of Buhari, Pastor Femi Adesina, advised people in the Middle Belt that is it not better that they gave up their land and leave? Or what is the use of the land if they are dead? That was when people summarized it as your land or your blood. It was a pastor who made the statement. Pastor. The people being killed are Christians. It was a pastor. We're talking about the spirit of Judas still operating inside the church. That report was produced by Baroness Caroline Cox and Reverend David Thomas. If you read that report, it's a short report, 19 pages. It is filled with traumatic testimonies of the survivors. People who were almost killed, but they saw members of their families murdered before their eyes. The fourth one, which I will make reference to, is another report titled The Quiet Genocide. 49-page report produced by Mission Africa Research in August 2020. This quiet genocide focused on Southern Kaduna alone, under El Rufai, when Southern Kaduna became killing field and Christians were being exterminated in hundreds. It is the same El Rufai that some Christian politicians are rubbing shoulders with to form a new political party. At times you wonder what goes on in the mind of Christians. How do the minds of Christians work? It is the spirit of Judas. What we are talking about today is to bring this matter into the public domain so that Christians can begin to check themselves, so that Christians can begin to call themselves to order from the individual level. Are you a Christian liar? Are you a Christian traitor? Are you someone who claims to be a Christian? You are a deceiver. Whether you are in the marketplace, whether you are in an office, whether you are in the church, whether it is in your family. The Bible says it is appointed unto stewards that a man be found faithful. Are you faithful? Are you trustworthy? Because if you are not faithful, if you are not trustworthy, please stop calling yourself a Christian. You are causing problems for the church. There are leaders in the church today who have no right to stand behind the pulpit. They have no right to organize church or worship service by virtue of their character. Because they are deceivers. And it is becoming normal. It's not normal. Brethren, it's abnormal. It is abnormal that someone will identify with Jesus Christ and he cannot be trusted. It never used to be so. And that is the reason why the church must take a decision, Christians themselves, and put an end to this money gospel, to this prosperity gospel. Because the love of money is the root of all manners of evil. So long as the love of money is in the church, there shall be treachery and betrayal in the church. It is only when the church returns to discipleship, returns to building and raising men in the image of Christ, that we can get Christians of godly character. I hope that more Christians will start raising their voices. I hope that Christians will go to church now and pastor will want to talk about blessing, about prosperity, and people will walk out. That if you have no message, let us know you have no message. We go to another church where there is message. Money is not message. Prosperity is not message. Jesus didn't preach it. Paul didn't preach it. Peter didn't preach it. God says he will bless his people, we know that, but he didn't ask us to make money doctrine in the church. The Lord specifically warned, a servant cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve God and mammon. I pray that as many as hear this message, you will challenge yourself primarily. You will receive this message for yourself primarily. And work on yourself. That you will not be counted amongst those Christians who are traitors. That you will work on yourself. You will not be counted amongst those Christians who carry the spirit of Judas Iscariot. That spirit is still in the church. He did not die with Judas. It is Judas that died. That spirit that worked in him did not die. Like that church leader said, that spirit did not leave the church. I pray it will not have power over you. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Shall we bow our heads?